Lydia ma'am. Good afternoon to one and all present here. Myself Karthikeyan, Assistant Professor, Department of Civil Engineering. So it's my privilege to welcome you all to this inauguration of RIT Structure and ICS Student Chapter, also technical webinar on disaster management and mitigation plan in highway structures, which is presented by Engineer M. Ravi Kumar Sir, Deputy General Manager, L&T IDPL, Chennai. Let me begin by welcoming our today's resource person, Engineer M. Ravi Kumar Sir, Deputy General Manager, L&T IDPL, Chennai. I gladly welcome Mr. S. Dharmar, Head of the Department, Civil Engineering Department. I extend my welcome to all the faculty members of Civil Engineering Department. Also, I heartily welcome all the students of Civil Engineering Department. On behalf of Ramco Institute of Technology, I once again welcome you all who are present. I'm sure that you will have a fruitful session today. Thank you, sir. Now I invite Mrs. D. Darling Helen Lydia, Assistant Professor, Civil Engineering Department, Association Faculty in charge, to give you a talk about annual plan of RIT Structure and ICS Student Chapter.
Thank you, sir. So now I feel happy to lead the annual plan for the association activities by RIT Structure. So in the month of October, we plan to conduct 2 events. One is inauguration of RIT Structure with a guest lecture that is happening today, and one more event we planned in this month, that is technical quiz on connections for all the second and third and final year students of civil engineering of Ramco Institute of Technology. And in the November 2020, we plan to conduct one-day workshop on MATLAB on-ramp to give some month of December 2020, we plan to conduct a few technical events to encourage the students to involve themselves in more technical sessions. And in the year 2021, in the month of January, we plan to conduct one more lecture by an expert from industry. And in the month of February 2021, we plan to conduct a code cracking event. Then in the month of March 2020, we plan to conduct technical paper presentation to establish presentation skills of students. So, and in the month of April 2020, we plan to conduct valedictory session for this RIT structure for the academic year 2020 to 2021 with one more guest lecture from a resource person from industry. Okay. So, these are the annual plan for the academic year 2021 of RIT structure of civil department. Now, let me talk about the annual plan for the professional society ICI students chapter, which is headed by Mr. G. Karthikeyan, Assistant Professor Senior Grade of Ramco Institute of Technology. So in the month of October, so they plan to conduct one technical webinar that is happening today by Engineer M. Ravi Kumar, L&T IDPL, Chennai. And in the same month of October, they plan to conduct one online quiz. Then in the year 2021 of the month January, one site visit is planned for the students of civil engineering. And in the month of February, one event, concrete mix design, is planned to conduct. And in the month of March 2021, one more guest lecture is planned to conduct by Engineer V. Janani of Infinity Systems. So these are the annual plan of RIT structure and ICA students chapter. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. Thank you. Sir Karthikeyan, sir.
Now, yes, madam. Now I will introduce the engineer Ravi Kumar sir profile. He completed civil engineering from Madras University in the year 1999 and completed postgraduate in structural engineering at Government College of Technology, Coimbatore, Anna University in the year 2004. And he has more than 20 years experience in design and in repair and rehabilitation of bridges in various infrastructure projects. Also, he has received various awards like Above and Beyond Call of Duty in the year 2013 and 2014, and also received Construction Industry Awards for the year 2016-2017 for excellence in bridges and elevated corridors from Sri Dr. Mailswamy Annadurai, Director, ISRO, Bangalore. He delivered various design projects, also various drawings for major bridges, minor bridges, flyovers, culverts. So more than 400 structures for the construction with all statutory authorities and technical approval with a record period of 10 months against 12 months of developmental period. In the 4-laning of highway project connecting Sambalpur to Rourkela in the state of Odisha, and similarly in the 4-laning of highway project connecting Telangana to Karnataka. Also, he delivered integrated structure with a span length of 35 meters. And he worked with various projects in repair and rehabilitation and design of bridge sectors and retaining wall and serviceability and durability of all type of structures in the highway projects. Also, he delivered technical papers on the bridges and rehabilitation system, facilitating the construction team for speedy completion. Also, he has guided more for the betterment of students' projects in industries for the design project as well as in the final year project work. So he has guided more number of students in various institutions from the Tamil Nadu. And also he has given in-plant training for facilitating them in understanding the bridge configuration system at L&T. So with this brief introduction, now I cordially invite Engineer M. Ravi Kumar sir, Deputy General Manager, L&T IDPL Chennai, to deliver a webinar on disaster management and mitigation plan in highway structures.
Thank you very much, sir.
You. Thank you, sir.
For your warm welcome speech. Shall I start, sir?
Yes, sir. You can present the screen. You can share the screen, sir.
Good afternoon, my dear friends.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yes, sir. Students எல்லாம் சைலண்டா இருக்காங்க. எல்லாம் மியூட் பண்ணிட்டீங்க போயிட்டாங்களா? சார், ஹலோ. சார் ஸ்கிரீன் தெரியுதா? Sir, my screen is visible, sir. Hello, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's visible, sir.
Okay. So, madam, okay, all are our college
yes,
students only, no, madam?
Yes, sir. It is visible, sir. Sir, it is visible, sir. Yes, sir. All are our students, second year, third year, final year students.
Okay. Good afternoon, my dear.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Engineers. Good afternoon.
Sir, they are putting in the chat box, sir. They are putting in the chat. Good afternoon.
Okay. So they are also active in this this
yes,
webinar,
sir.
right?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Good afternoon. Yeah. Good afternoon, my dear friends. I thank your HOD, Dharma sir, and Assistant Professor G. Karthikeyan sir and Madam Ellen Madam for giving me this opportunity on this fine afternoon to meet you all through this topic, disaster management and mitigation plan in highway structure. My dear friends, today this topic plays a vital role in the present situation of the disasters that are happening across the world in many countries. It may be due to rainfall, flood, rockfall, landsliding. Even in our own country, that is even in our own place near Ooty, we have experienced the landsliding also. So, my dear friends, so at this undergraduate level or postgraduate level, it's very important for the young engineers to understand what is the difference between disaster management and mitigation plan, and particularly these highway structures. The the corridor or the highway should always be in functional in meeting the vehicle users, and there should not be any discontinuity due to these disasters. The disasters may be due to natural disaster or it may be of man-made disasters. Irrespective of the type of disaster, it is very important to maintain in such a way that the roadways and the structures that are present within the project corridor are fully functional. Because if anything happens, that will create a break point or a discontinuity in the food chain, because the project corridors are widely used for transportation purposes, particularly for movement of commodities from one place to another place. Therefore, the highway structures in a project corridor should be always functional, irrespective of any thing happen, that is disasters. So how we can make the highway structure always functional without having any break point? That's what we are going to discuss in the next 1 hour discussion under this topic. Now we have to differentiate ourselves, understand what is disaster and what is mitigation. A disaster can be defined as an occurrence causing widespread destruction and distress. Whereas a mitigation plan, what is mitigation? Mitigation is of reducing severity, seriousness, or painfulness of something. So disaster is occurrence which in a widespread causing destruction and distress. Whereas mitigation is to reduce the severity. Therefore, with this small understanding of difference between the disaster, the term disaster and mitigation, we will move on. Now I tried myself to take a kural from Thiruvalluvar, who was written 2000 years back, in connecting of today's topic. So there is a kural, ஊரொராள் உற்றபின் ஒல்காமை இவ்விரண்டின் ஆரென்பர் ஆய்ந்தவர் கோள். What does it mean? இடையூறு வருவதற்கு முன்பே அதனை நீக்கிட முனைவது மீறி வந்து விடுமேயானால் மனம் தளராது இருப்பது ஆகிய இரண்டு வழிகளுமே அறிவுடையோர் கொள்கையாம். Now one more kural I tried myself to connect our today's topic. The kural is ஆற்றின் வருந்தா வருத்தம் பலர் நின்று போற்றினும் பொத்துப்படும். It says, ஒரு செயலை முடிக்கும் வழி அறியாது தொடங்கினால் பலர் சேர்ந்து துணை செய்தாலும் அச்செயல் கெட்டு போகும். That is, the work which is not done by suitable methods will fail, though many stand to uphold it. So with this small introduction from Tirukural connecting to our today's topic discussion, we will just move on to the next. Now, my dear friends, this slide, you are able to see the quantum of effect on the highway structure due to the heavy rainfall. There may be severe rain cuts. The pavement maybe have undergo severe distress or deteriorations. It may be of overtopping. As you are seeing the left hand side first photograph, overtopping of the highway, and the water keeps on stagnating on the highway, causing destruction for the movement of vehicle users. Now we will move on to the next slide, that's showing the snowfall or snow slide. The entire discussion of today's session will be through videos, photographs. My dear friends, suppose if my project corridor moves along the snowfall mountains, so I have to be prepared myself. Suppose if you have been, after completing your graduate, if you are given an opportunity as a site in charge of a highway which passes through the snowfall mountains, therefore you should be in a position to overcome these disasters. This is related to a natural disaster, snowfall slide. So when this, so you have to prepare yourself, you have to plan in a year what will be the duration of heavy snowfall to medium snowfall and very low snowfall where there will not be any snowfall. That calendar has to be prepared, and you have to get in touch with the National Disaster Management Office or the nearby climatic government offices and get a clear data in the present calendar year what may be the expected snowfall, maximum snowfall. So accordingly you have to prepare yourself and keep yourself, your team should be ready, whether the disaster quantum may be a small or big. That doesn't matter. Your preparation is the matter. So you have to well prepare yourself. Your team has to be well prepared and ready, mobilized. When such type of things happen, immediately your team has to be mobilized and clear all this snowfall sliding and make the road open for the vehicle movement. There should not be any break point. If at all, if suppose when a situation arises where the natural disaster like snow slide or rockfall slide are very severe, where it takes more quantum of time for clearing the debris, in such a way, in situation, you should also find an alternative routes where you can divert the traffic, so that there should be always a continuity movement of vehicles from one place to another place, where the vehicles will be carrying food materials related to hospital products, medicines. So therefore, the project highway should always be in a situation of functional. That is a major target. Suppose if my project corridor is undergoing where in a period of 100 years, such a heavy quantum of rainfall hasn't take place. For example, in 2 days back, you might have seen in the news that the Hyderabad is receiving a huge quantum of rainfall, 20 centimeters in overnight, where a heavy flood, everywhere the flood, the vehicles are being carried, washed away in the flood, the people are being washed away in the flood. The buildings have collapsed because of the heavy quantum of rainfall. My dear friends, you have to prepare yourself. There cannot be any reason to come out that this is the project corridor is closed because of this problem. It will take 2 days, 3 days, 4 days time to reopen. That situation should never occur. We are having presently 15 highway projects spread across India, where Every location will undergo in a period of time, in a year, in a particular year, the overtopping of highway, heavy water flow in the rivers, a landslide, rockfall, everything will happen. But we have our own protocols, we have our own formats, team, a separate team under the leadership of project manager of the project respective projects. They will lead the team. We have a separate operation manager, separate maintenance manager, separate manager who will take care of this type of disasters. So the preparation is very, very important in overcoming or tackling the situation due to disaster. The preparation is very, very important. I cannot give any reason for closing of the project highway. I have to prepare myself not only with reference to the manpower, I have to be ready with adequate quantum of machinery powers also. So based upon the mapping of previous history of disasters, it may be due to heavy rainfall, flood, rockfall, landslide, or man-made severe accident. Sometimes a vehicle, a truck carrying a chemical, it may collision may happen. There may be a huge spillage of oil, a huge spillage of chemical. So all the situation has to be handled precisely in such a way. The objective is my highway should be always functional. That should be my core objective. Okay, my dear friends. Now we will see another video that explains about landslide. So you might have all seen in the newspapers or in the news channels that about the landsliding. First of all, we have to understand what is landslide. Landslide, or you can call it as a mudslide, refer to the downward movement of rocks, soil, mud, and organic debris. Areas with a steep slope, for example, mountainous regions, are particularly susceptible to landslide hazards. Water can trigger landslides and mudslides. So water can trigger landslide or mudslides because it alters the pressure within the slope, which leads to slope instability. The other factors that weaken slope materials also contribute to the occurrence of landslide. These factors include both natural events such as geological weathering and erosion, and also human related activities such as deforestation and changes made to the flow of groundwater. And even landslides are classified according to the type of material that falls and how that material moved downslope. For example, there are rockfall, mudslides, debris flow. So now we have seen what is disaster, what is mitigation. We have seen snowfall, sliding, landsliding. Now we have understood what is landsliding, how it will occur. Now we will see what is disaster management. Now we will see another video showing rockfall sliding. which you might have also seen in the news. As I said, incessant rainfall, heavy rainfall. So water is the greatest enemy in causing the landsliding or rockfall sliding. So my dear friends, now we will see what is the objective of disaster management plan. And before seeing it, I just want to explain what is disaster management. Probably nowadays, disaster management becomes a part of a curriculum either in the undergraduate or in the postgraduate. So disaster management does not avert or eliminate the threats. Instead, it focuses on creating plans to decrease the effect of disaster. Failure to create a plan could lead to damage to assets, human mortality, and lost revenue. Events covered by disaster management include act of human caused disaster like electrical fire, structural issues, industrial sabotage. Natural disasters like earthquake, tsunami, flood, hurricanes, etc. In essence, disaster management is more than just response and relief. It is a systematic process aimed at reducing the negative impact and or consequences of adverse events. My dear friend, this line is very, very important. Disaster management is nothing but a systematic process aimed at reducing the negative impact or consequences of adverse events. So now the objective of disaster management plan is to identify the roles, responsibilities, and tasks or functions to be performed in all disaster recovery operation. Disaster management is nothing but reducing the impact. My dear friends, we cannot stop, we don't have any control over the natural disasters. We cannot go and stop the natural disasters, but we can minimize the impact. We can reduce the impact. How we can reduce is, that is the objective. So to increase awareness among officials of the project on the issues involved in disaster recovery, to provide explanations of roles and responsibilities. My dear friends, each one of you should know your responsibility. Your teachers or your departmental staffs, your lab staffs are helping you to pass through the path, but they may create awareness the importance of education, of engineering. They create awareness with reference to the subject, but as an individual, it is the responsibility of the each and every student to understand what for, why for they have come to the institution. What is the objective of the student in under this BE Civil Engineering in a period of 4 years? You have to keep in your mind your objective. After end of 4 years, you have to face the industry. It is you, not your professors, not your lab staffs. They can help you in over a period of 4 years, but after 4 years they can still continue their help or guide. But unless or otherwise you don't have your own objective, how to shine yourself, how to bring your potential in the benefit of yourself and to the society, We cannot pass through the days. It will be a very difficult task. My dear friends, you have to keep in your mind the world is full of opportunities. The world outside your college gate is full of opportunities. Don't think that there are no opportunities. World is full of opportunities, and it is in your hand to shine yourself, to bring out your potential and show to this world that you can come out with new ideas, new innovations, new methodologies, new principles, new preparations that can create a benefit to the society as well as yourself. You also have to grow, and your society is also to grow with your deliverables. So to provide explanations of roles and responsibilities, now come to this slide, and to provide guidelines for disaster recovery operations, to localize the emergency and if possible eliminate it, and to minimize the effects of the accidents on people and property. So therefore, after mapping the critical location where the more landslides are occurring frequently, the mapping of details that happen in a year from January to December 31st, January 1 to December 31st, in an entire year, you have to map all the disasters, irrespective of natural or man-made. Everything has to be mapped chainage wise, kilometer wise, location wise, and we have to study more focusedly, precisely, and before the next year comes, next year rainfall or flood comes, you have to create all the programs. You have to keep your highway fit enough. If at all next time occurs in the next year, the impact should be reduced from the previous year. So slow and slowly you have to reduce the impact. When you are reducing the impact, automatically the damage will be very small. You can easily manage it. Okay, my dear friends. So you have to create a fencing. The fencing, suppose if at all a rockfall falls, what should be the lateral clearance from the location where the rock slides down? It should not fall on the highway, creating obstruction or falling over the vehicles that pass through. That should not happen. No fatality should happen. So in such a way, you have to create a protective measures. Okay. So elimination will require prompt action by operators and works emergency staff using, for example, firefighting equipment, emergency due to collision and submergence, etc. Minimizing the effects may include rescue, first aid, evacuation, rehabilitation, giving information promptly to people living nearby. My dear friends, all this whatever we are discussing today are all available in the books in your library. Go and search the library related to this disaster management and mitigation plan. More and more methods, latest techniques, mitigation plan, everything are well defined with pictorial representation. Go spend more time in this pandemic period, spend more time in e-books. Go get a membership in e-library, keep on reading more books, keep on revising your previous subjects, create a group among your friends and discuss on technical points, share your understanding to your friends and ask your friend to share his understanding, and collaborate all these things. Discuss with your faculty members, get a clear understanding of why for, what for, how for, when for. If in a civil engineering, if you are able to find a solution for all these questionnaires, my dear friends, then you can easily move forward. You can keep moving irrespective of any situation that comes on your life, in your life. Now next we will see another video of rock sliding. You can see There is a huge rock mass is here. At the bottom, a metal beam crash barrier. This is the metal beam crash barrier, and now you are having a lateral clearance. But this huge landmass is going to get slide down. That is rock sliding. Let's see how it is happening. Watch closely. So the rock mass hits over the metal beam crash barrier. That is a barrier protecting the vehicles. You see how much quantum of rock mass falls over the highway. You see a big mass is falling. Now we will see another video related to earthquake, natural disaster. Friends, if you have any doubt, you can post your questionnaires in the chat box. Even in the during the discussion time itself, if I see any questionnaires in the chat box, I will try to link the questionnaire with the slides. Okay, my dear friends, don't hesitate to raise question. If I know, I will answer. If not, I will share the answers through mails. See now what going to happen. See now every vehicles are slowing down. People are crossing. See, by using mobile phone, they are used to cross. Even in our day-to-day life, we are able to see even today also. That should be avoided. Your safety is in your hand. See now. See the plant. And see everybody is see the lateral movement, how the trees are shaking, the plants. See the Omni van, how it is shaking. So now because of this lateral ground movement, there may be some disturbances to the highways in the form of crack development in the longitudinal direction, that is parallel to the traffic movement. There may be impact towards the structures. That is why when you are involved in the design of structures, highway structures, you have to understand what is the environmental condition, whether it is moderate, severe, or very severe, extreme. Then what type of earthquake zone it is, seismic zone 2, 3, 4, 5, and what is the wind velocity, maximum wind velocity at that particular location. Suppose if you are going to design the bridge across a river, then you have to understand what is the high flood level, what is the cover depth, everything, velocity of water. Everything has to be mapped and studied. Then accordingly, you have to design the structure in overcoming this disasters effect. Now let's see another video in understanding a soil erosion. Sir, the video audio is audible, sir. So there are three samples. One is right to the right hand side, and it is a dry soil, and in the middle over the dry soil, the dry leaves are put, and the third, the left hand side, first one is over the soil, grass or turfing, we call it as. Now when the water is poured over it, you will be understanding the erosion. This is a typical explanation with reference to how the erosion will take place. So when you are going to pour water in each of the bottle at the top, then it will wash. Since the water keeps on moving from the top to down, it will carry the soil particles along with it. It will wash away. Now, in the second, if the same quantum of water is poured, we will be seeing the difference between the first bottle without anything and the second bottle with the dry leaf and the third bottle with the grass growth, vegetation growth. You see? You can see this soil particles or dust particles are washed away and deposited to the collective container. So in this way, the scour or erosion will take place in the water bodies where your structure is located. So now you have to protect your structure against the soil erosion. That is why whenever you are involved in the design of structures across the water bodies, the river bed in 5 meter in the downstream and 3 meter in the upstream will be protected by means of floor protection work, that is bed protection. River bed will be protect using rigid, we call it as rigid aprons and flexible aprons. Now water is getting poured onto the second container where it is being put with the dry leaves. Now you are able to see the difference between the first, only dry soil. Now second, with the dry leaf, you can see the quantum of dust eroded from the container is very less compared to the first one. So these dead leaves or the dry leaves which are kept over the soil is acting like a barrier that is protecting the washing of soil underneath along the water flow. Now the third, it is something a small experimental study video. Now you see you can see the difference. The last container where the grass roots are there, It is clean when compared to the other two. Now, what is the difference? Which makes the difference? Let us see by zooming in what is actually happening in the soil where the vegetation is grown. You can see now he is just removing that where the grass has grown and the soil. So what you are able to understand from this is the roots of the grass are holding the soil underneath. It is holding firmly in such a way that when the water moves downwards, the roots of the vegetation or grass doesn't allow the soil particles to wash away. You see, when he squeezes, only water is coming. So the roots are storing the water. That's why, my dear friends, in a highway where the embankment on either side of the highway, it will be protected to avoid the rain cut or to avoid the erosion by means of stone pitching or by means of turfing or by means of geocells. So in that way, the soil stabilization is being carried out. Even in the floor protection, due to the water flow from upstream to downstream at high velocity, the river bed nearby the structure, to avoid the covering effect, it will be protected with the floor protection. So all these protective measures are not going to stop the water flow. All these measures are done to protect the failure or to reduce the impact or to minimize the impact, so that the highway structure or highway will be always operational irrespective of any disaster happens. Now, mitigation measures include hazard mapping, adoption and enforcement of land use and zoning practices, floodplain mapping, reinforced tornado safe rooms, buying of electric cables to prevent ice buildup, raising of FRL in flood-prone areas, disaster mitigation, public awareness programs. Now, risk analysis. The analysis should take into account consequence of collision also in a highway. Damage to the bridge, damage to the uses of the bridge, damage to vessel and cargo, inconvenience cost of society and business, social losses, damage to the environment, loss of revenue due to possible on-operation of the port. You can correlate this risk analysis with the photographs what is displayed on the right-hand side. So that's why in the design of structures, now the code has bring a separate class to consider the collision load also. So during the design time itself, the collision load will also be considered. Or in other words, in a highway where that's why you can see in a highway the columns which are constructed in the center line of the highway, to avoid the impact of vehicle collision over the column will be protected all around with an external concrete member. So there are 5 steps in creating a risk mitigation plan. One is to identify the risk. Second, perform a risk assessment. Prioritize, track risk. Then finally implement and monitor the progress. My responsibility doesn't over only by identifying the risk. My responsibilities doesn't over by perform a risk assessment. My responsibility doesn't get over by prioritize it. My responsibility doesn't over by tracking the risk. My responsibility continues in implementing and doesn't stop. Not only my responsibility doesn't get over after implementation. Then only my more responsibility starts. That is to monitor the progress. Whatever the remedial measures or mitigation plan that I put into force at the site, the performance decides how the methodology is working in minimizing the impact. So how it can be achieved? It can be achieved by a continuous monitoring. So continuous monitoring, you can understand easily what are all the negatives and what are all the positives, and it also helps you to work more to remove all the negatives one by one. So slowly converting the negatives into positives, benefiting in managing the disasters. Okay, my dear friends. So this is another pictorial representation of the risk mitigation, risk identification, risk impact assessment, risk prioritization analysis, then risk mitigation planning, implementation progress monitoring. So each one of these boxes are interconnected, and most importantly is you have to track all the detailings, whether the risks are only whatever you have mapped based upon your history, whether any new risks are identified. So that can be done only by tracking the risk. So if any new risks are getting added, that also to be mapped, and you have to see whether the methodology that you are put into force are working well, taking into account of the new risk or any new value addition is required. That call also can be taken only if you are keep continuing monitoring and tracking the risk. Now let's see a small video of the water, heavy rainfall water flood impact. Friends, there is no audio. I'm also keeping quiet. Just enjoy this video. See what happens at that end. See. Yes, suddenly there is it is sunk due to erosion. Now water keeps on going down at higher speed. You see at the center what happens. So because of this heavy water flow, there will be upward pressure develops below the highway, because there is a vent for the water flow from the upward to upstream to downstream. There is a culvert, pipe culvert is there. Now you see what happens to that pipe culvert. See, slowly it is eroding. You see the bituminous concrete is getting sunk slowly. You see at the center, now you see. You see, slowly it is erosion and it is totally sunk. Okay. You see, the pipe which is provided for carrying the water from upstream to downstream, it is now finally floating upwards. So this type of damages may also occur due to heavy rainfall. That is a disaster, natural disaster. So in such a situation, how we can be well prepared to overcome this, so that see the damages, how. Karthikeyan sir, my screen is not visible, right? Hello sir.
Yes, sir.
Just hold on.
Yes, sir. Screen is not visible.
Just a moment, friends. Please hold on. Yeah. Okay. So now it's visible, na, sir?
Yes, sir. It is visible, sir.
So now you have to prepare yourself to overcome all these impacts. Now the next slide, you see the collision, which we have discussed earlier. So what happened? The truck comes and get collided with the structure, and now this damage is very severe. Now suppose if this bridge is getting closed, to overcome this repairing job, then there is a stoppage of vehicles is required, which will have a huge impact over the commodities movement or health products movement. Therefore, you should always prepare yourself to overcome or minimize the impacts. Whether you expect it or not, that cannot be a reason for the stoppage of vehicles in a highway when the disasters happen. Okay, my dear friends? Now we will see another video of related to this collision, truck collision. You see? So this may also occur. We cannot say the reason that it is the fault of truck and I have to close the highway. Now we will move on to the next. You see the accidents. My dear friends, the highway is not a place to show to thrill yourself. Highway is the place where the movement is you are provided to move safely. Your safety is in your hand. You have to be very cautious. You see that two-wheeler? See whose wrong it is. Just once again, I'm rewinding it. You see, this is one lane, first, second, and third. The car is coming in this third lane. Okay. Now this is the two-wheeler. What he has to do actually, two-wheeler, when they are crossing this highway junction, they have to see both left and right. Any vehicles are, because the vehicle may come across more than 80-100 kilometers per hour. So as a two-wheeler, you have to be very cautious because this is a through traffic moving. So both left hand side, suppose if this is left hand side and this is right hand side, the vehicle through traffic will move fast. Therefore, the cross traffic has to wait and see whether any, because that this is in a curvature. Now you will see. You see all the vehicles are coming. Oh, have you noted that action? So this two-wheeler is coming under the crossroad without seeing that right hand side the vehicle is coming, and he is taking a turn going up to the third lane. So you should never take risk when you are riding the vehicles in a highway. You see now, same two-wheeler, when he is crossing the junction, that is the fast moving vehicle location, the cross traffic cannot expect the fast moving vehicles to stop and see whether any from the crossroads any traffic is coming. See, when the bus is standing, the people who are coming out of the bus, they have to see whether any vehicle is coming at the back. Without seeing anything, they just keep crossing. After getting down the house immediately, in a hurry, they will cross. Then what will happen? It will lead to the accidents. Fine. Now we'll move on to the next slide. So, my dear friends, we have discussed more about the various disasters and everything. Now, how we can avoid this? How we are managing it? We are managing it through various types of inspection. One is routine inspection, periodical inspection, pre-monsoon inspection, post-monsoon inspection, detailed inspection. So with these various kinds of inspection, we are able to map all the disasters and we are able to plan, prepare ourselves, and we are able to manage it so that our highway will always be functional irrespective of any type of disaster occurs. If we use mobile bridge inspection unit, as you are seeing in the right hand side photograph, which will take you to any location underneath the bridge, whether water is flowing or it is dry. So we have Bridge Management Service Inspection, BMS. A system is there. So this slide will describe you about the BMS process flow. One is collection of inventory data, periodic inspection, assessment of condition and strength, prioritizing allocation of funds, repair, strengthening and replacement, then safety. My dear friends, it is very, very essential. Safety of vehicle users are the topmost priority in our project corridors. Now we have a checklist or a format to map all the deteriorations or destruction or disaster or distresses. Everything will be mapped, whether it is of concrete member or it is of a steel member, whether it is of a RCC or PSC, whether it is a bridge or a highway, whether it is a flyover or a river bridge. According to the type of structure, according to the type of material, everything will be described in the checklist and everything will be mapped. My dear friends, we have in the present situation, we have been asked to wear mask covering the two entry points. One is nostril and mouth, to protect ourselves from the entry of microorganisms. Same way, it is very essential to provide adequate number of cover blocks at adequate location, because the cover is a barrier which protects the structural steel as well as structural concrete from the environmental effect, from the corrosion, from any sorts of deteriorations or distress. So cover concrete, even though it is not a structural concrete, but it plays a vital role in protecting your structural concrete and structural steel. Suppose I am wearing a mask. If you are wearing a mask, but you are in one of the entry point is opened, but then there is no use. Same way, you can tell I have used cover block. But have you used adequate number at adequate location? That is very important. Wherever there is a laxness in the cover, that portion will easily get affected by the environmental fact and other factors. Then the corrosion will start. When the bars are corroded, the volume of steel increase 5 times, and when the volume increases, because of the tension develops along with the length of the bar, the crack may develop along the length of the bar, or it will push the outer concrete outside. That we call it as a swelling of concrete. And when the bar corrodes, its area of steel will get reduced. When area of steel is getting reduced, then the quantum of steel that required resist the tensile force, bending moment, will also be reduced, which will lead to a catastrophic failure also. Now, as I said, your bed protection done through stone pitching. This slide describes about the protection works. Embankment protection. The embankment will be in this 2:1, 2 horizontal, 1 vertical. Then you see in the rivers, where a water flows, your embankment is protected. My dear friends, at the top you will be seeing a boulders of 300 mm thick, each boulder with a mass of 40 kilogram. Below, so first layer will be embankment, soil, earthwork, and over the earthwork, 150 mm, 150 mm filter media coarse aggregate will be laid, and over the filter media only 300 mm thick 40 kilogram mass boulders will be laid. Now this is another way of protecting this covering effect in the pillars which are located in the riverbed. This slide picturizes the covering effect in the pile foundation. Now friends, now next we have introduced another system in is health monitoring system. What is the main goal of in health monitoring system? Determination of damage existence, determination of damage's geometric location, quantification of damage severity, and prediction of remaining life of the structure. With the help of health monitoring system, we ourselves have health record. If we monitor our health by doing a periodic health checkup, that will help us in timely identifying the problems and treat it timely, so that your lifespan will be extended or maintained. The same way the structures also, health of structures in a highway project should be monitored. That's why we are having a health monitoring system. So the anticipated emergencies or disasters. This slide describes about that. Then the components of DMP, disaster management plan. Emergency response team, public affairs, telephone services, dining services, financial services, planning section. Now we have a separate flow chart, a representation of disaster management for medical safety scenario. This slide describes about that how our teams are prepared to overcome this type of scenarios. SOP. Now the SOP for when the damages are due to the spillage of oil or fuel on a bridge or in the water where the bridge is constructed, then this is the SOP that we have to follow. We have a different SOPs in accordance to the problems. Every individual problem has to be dealt accordingly. We cannot have a common SOP. Then this is another SOP to manage the collision or accident on the bridge. Then this is another SOP flow chart to handle the pollution risk or hazard due to vehicles falling into the sea. Suppose if my project structure is passing through a sea or the sea bank or river bank, then how we can manage the pollution risk or the hazard. Now we call it as a bridge concept. Understanding the disaster risk, communicating the disaster risk, and managing the disaster risk. Now this slide describes about the emergency services needed to meet the disaster. Firefighting, search and rescue, medical emergency care, facility services, then scene security and traffic control, hazardous materials operation, communication unit, food water unit, staffing, supply unit, shelter, transportation. That's why in our project CADA we have SOS system where suppose if the vehicle users are having some problem, then immediately with the help of SOS, there will be a telephone on the sides of the highway. When they pick it, automatically it will be attended by the project office operation team. There will be a separate team who will attend this call, and after hearing the problem, immediately it will be attended. So our project highways are monitored with a surveillance system through and through, starting chainage to ending chainage, both left hand side carriageway, right hand side. It will be completely monitored using surveillance system. That means our operation office will can able to monitor the entire length of the project corridor, irrespective of the length, whether the length is 6 kilometers or 300 kilometers. Each and every section of the entire length will be under monitor using surveillance system, so that if any problem occurs, so immediately it will be attended by our operation team as per the SOPs, so that the project highway will be always functional. Now this slide describes about the role of vegetation in slope stability. So this slide describes about the surface treatment using a geomat, jute mat, geogrids, geocells. The stone pitching is one another method, and this slope stabilization using geocells, geogrids, jutes, with the vegetation growth is another method. The another method is soil nailing. So soil nailing is a procedure to reinforce and strengthen ground adjacent to an excavation by installing closely spaced steel bars called nails as construction proceeds from top down. So this describes about the construction sequence: excavation, drilling and holes, nail installation, grouting, then construction of wall facing. Then finally the placement of wall. You can see right hand side photograph, the high embankment is being strengthened using soil nailing. You can see a small video related to soil nailing. Okay. So this is the actual photographs of soil nailing in protecting the embankment. We will see the method of geo-web in embankment stabilization. This is another method. So it will be a step-by-step video. You can kindly watch. So that's a small video explaining about the GeoWeb method for protecting the soil stabilization. Now we will see about rock bolting. It is another method that will protect your rock fall. Friends, why I am sharing more videos with reference to various methodologies? At this stage, if you understand, when you get an opportunity to work under this type of situation, it will be easy for you to handle and move forward. Now we will see the installation procedure. This is grouting. The grout will come in form of tablets. So that first it is put and through into that the rock bolting or rock nailing is inserted. Then finally it is tightened at the outside. My dear friends, you have to understand the goal of rock support in such condition is to observe the kinetic energy of the ejected rock. Energy absorbing rock bolts should be used. That's what you are seeing now. The energy of the rock that is getting dissipated or ejected is observed by the rock bolts should be used. The higher the load bearing capacity of the energy absorbing rock bolt is, the less the ejected rock displaces. You can monitor the rock mass movement. So in this way, this is another methodology in protecting the rocks, rock fall or rock sliding. Now finally we will be seeing about the gabion wall. This video will show you step-by-step process. Step 1 is folding the sides. Step 2, cutting the lengths of wire to bind sides together. Step 3, lacing of edges using alternating double and single method. Step 4, placing boxes, lacing together, that is tying together. Step 5, you have to fill it with the suitable rocks. Step 6, brace the basket. Step 7, fill the box, repeating step 5 to 6. Step 8, close the net. Step 9, lacing the Before install the baskets, you have to prepare the surface. Now place the basket. Where installation area. So we have come to the final slide, my dear friends.
பட்டன் போட்டீங்கன்னா டக்குன்னு திரும்ப அது காதோட
So I tried myself to, within this short period, I tried myself to cover the various disasters, natural and man-made, and what are the various types of disasters, how the impact will be, and what are the SOPs that we follow to minimize the impact of this disaster.
இருக்கு வெளியே பொரியல்.
Now, finally, my dear friends, with this small introduction of this session on disaster management mitigation plan, you expose yourself by referring so many books and prepare yourself to keep yourself ready to manage this type of situation when you get an opportunity in the industry to work in the tunnel, to work as a highway engineer, or to work as a structural engineer, to work as a maintenance engineer. So therefore, this is a gateway is opened now with this today's session. And now, my friends, finally, since this is going to be a pandemic period, please be healthy, eat more healthy foods, vegetables, fruits, take care of your immunity system, follow all the safety protocols provided by the government from time to time. Always wear mask covering your nostril point and mouth whenever you go outside in a group or whenever you go out for a market or purchasing. And always say vanakkam, don't shake your hands, and wish you a great success. God bless you all. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, for giving wonderful webinar on disaster management. Now I invite thanks.
Sir, any questions before we go for out of time? Any questions?
Yes. Dear students, do you have any questions?
I think they are very tired. Huh?
Yes.
Fine, sir. Fine. Dear students, don't
Do you have
hesitate
any
yourself.
questions?
Raise any question. Prepare yourself to face any situation. All the best to you. Sir, you can proceed, sir.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Janita,
Yes, sir.
you can
Okay, sir.
propose the vote of thanks.
Yes, sir. Good evening, everybody. We had an eventual day, and I take the honor of proposing the vote of thanks on this occasion. First of all, I wish to thank Engineer M. Ravikumar sir for accepting our invitation of being the chief guest and addressing the students. Thank you for your valuable input, sir, and thank you for spending your time with us. I extend
Thank you,
my
ma'am.
thanks to our
Thank you,
principal.
ma'am.
Yes, sir. I extend my thanks to our principal, Dr. L. Ganesan, sir, for his support and guidance for arranging this function. Thank you, sir. I wholeheartedly thank our head of department, Mr. S. Dharmar, sir, and the faculty members of Civil Department for your valuable suggestions and help. We look forward for the same in coming years too. Finally, a big thanks to all the students of Civil Department. We hope you get benefited from today's function. I wish you all success to your future. Once again, I thank everyone present here. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you,
Thank you,
sir.
sir. Thanks to our HOD, sir.